the hallway if you guys need them. And other than that, I'm going to introduce Mr. Aaron Fullan for you guys.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. As Trinity said, you're in the right room if you're here to learn a little bit about networking. And it's a topic that is very near and dear to my heart. I do have a presentation. We're having technical difficulties. What is a seminar without some technical difficulties? So I'm waiting on another computer to see if we can fix that. But until then, I'll just introduce myself, give a little bit of backstory here. Because I've always said you should never listen, we're taught you don't talk to strangers, so I should introduce myself, give you guys a little idea of who I am before you listen to what I have to say about networking. When I was asked to speak this year, I'm an actor and a composer, so those are kind of the two areas of the industry that I am pursuing. They recommended one of those two lanes, and I said, well, can I think about it a little bit, and there may be something else that I feel like would be beneficial to share about. And so as I was thinking and brainstorming, I thought, you know what, I've heard a lot of people ask me about, and a lot of people want to know more about, is networking. And the very word makes some people recoil and really just not want to have anything to do with networking. They love the industry, they want bigger and better opportunities, but the whole idea of using networking as a tool to get those things makes their palms sweat and just makes them very, very nervous. So my goal in the presentation, shall I try on here?
Please do.
Okay, do you have, can I email it to you?
Oh.
Because it's a link, a specific link here. Is this your personal computer?
It's my work computer.
It's your work computer. Okay, what's your email?
Caleb at CWVFF.
Oh, there you are. Presentation. Thank you all for your patience. You're not even being disruptive while I do this. Okay, send that to you. Okay. So my goal by the end of this is for you to not feel that way about networking, okay? Because to me, networking is very fun. Believe it or not, it's actually really, really fun and exciting when it works, okay? When you do it well, when you learn how to do it. And I've been doing this for a number of years now and have gotten better at it. I'll just say that. I have had a fair amount of experience in learning what doesn't work, and therefore, through that, learning what does work, okay? So, that's my goal, and I want you to be thinking, okay, I'm going to give a little bit of an introduction, but then right after that, and Trinity, I will need your help for this, I want you to be thinking about one of two things, okay? Number one, raise your hand if you don't like networking. Okay, great, all right. Either or. A little bit yes, a little bit no, okay? So for you guys, I want you to tell me and think of something you'd like to tell me why you don't like networking, okay? So I want to hear that. And for those of you who didn't raise your hand, I want to hear a few of you, we won't have time for everyone, but why you decided to come to this class in particular, why you wanted to learn more about networking, or something you're hoping I'll cover during this, okay? So I have obviously a plan here, but I want to make sure I'm addressing the specific questions that you have during our time together, okay? So be thinking of that as I go through this introduction. Thank you very much for your help, by the way. I really, really appreciate it. Oh, I wish he was presenting. Okay, a little bit of my backstory. So again, my name's Aaron Fullan. I was born and raised and currently live in Iowa. Do all of you know where Iowa is on the map? Basically Canada, yes. We're a province, actually. Yeah, not a lot about Iowa is known for its art and entertainment, okay? So my experience with networking came out of necessity. I am nowhere near an entertainment hub. Atlanta, Los Angeles, New York, Nashville, and Franklin now is becoming a hot place for this kind of work. So being nowhere near there, I knew I had to be creative in how I was going to connect with the people I needed to connect with, okay? So I started out wanting to be an actor, and I, as many actors do, started out with just filming really silly movies down in our base, me and my two older brothers, with the old, like, over-your-shoulder camera. That's how old I am. And we'd set it up, and we'd do ridiculous things, and I loved it. Loved it. But again, just wasn't sure how I was going to pursue acting. And graduated from high school, ended up going to a Bible college, studied music ministry, because I also love music, and knew I wanted to compose. And so went for music ministry with an emphasis in piano performance to a Bible college in Iowa. Are you seeing a trend here? I'm sticking very close to my state. And graduated, got married right out of college, started having kids, and we settled in Thompson, Illinois. Actually went over to Illinois for a little bit, to a village. It wasn't even a town. It was a village of 600 people in Thompson, Illinois. We had a federal prison there. Thank you. Woo! Caleb. You're the man of the hour. Okay. And so again, town of 600 people. I had a different job because I was not in the industry yet. So I was literally trying to do whatever it took to provide for my family and pursue this career at the same time. So how did I do that? I'd go to work from 9 to 5. I'd come home and either practice composing or start networking. And I would send, I kid you not, I would really, someday, I would like the Lord to tell me how many emails I actually sent trying to connect, I would say. And since, from that time until now. And so over the year, I would spend hours doing this, trying to find out who I should reach out to, how I'm going to do it, and over the years have learned things that really, really didn't work and things that really, really work well. And my goal is to pass that on to you, okay? So that's a little bit about me. Networking 101, the art of getting through giving. And that's my first major point here, okay? This sounds weird, doesn't it? Obviously, networking, the goal of networking is often getting something, right? Whether we want to admit it or not. We want work and we want jobs through giving. Again, how does that work? How do you get something through giving? Well, I'm going to tell you. So the big idea here, see what I did here? It's big. Those are bigger. Yes, thank you. And that's it, folks. Let's go. All right. The big idea, you cannot build a sustainable career in film in isolation. And the most effective networking strategy is not taking, it's giving. Okay, so that's the big idea, and we're going to dive into that a little bit. Now, again, it sounds counterintuitive, but so much of what we read in Scripture, for example, sounds counterintuitive, but we know it's not. Am I right? For whoever would save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. Again, it seems counterintuitive, but in God's eyes, no, it's not. The only way to master the art of networking and to benefit from its results is to change your perception of what it actually is. Okay, so people come to an event like this with super high, desires and wanting to connect with a lot of different people in a short amount of time, and there's a lot of stress surrounding that. Am I right? Sometimes you're waiting to talk to somebody that you really want to talk to, and they're moving on, and you don't get to talk to them, or you're you're trying to find a table of someone you want to talk to and learn from, and there's no room at their table, and it can build a lot of angst. And my goal is to change your perception of that. Okay. Your goal is not to meet someone and get work from them like that. Okay, it's not to bring your resume and your headshots to an event like this or any networking, quote unquote, event, and to just try and force it in that moment to be something bigger than it should be in that moment, okay? I'm here to relieve a little bit of your stress. So how can you do this? Well, if you change your mindset to how you're networking, you're going to be really encouraged by the results in a short amount of time, okay? You were not helpful, so I'm removing you from the podium. Again, thank you, Caleb. Okay, no one step on that, please, all right? So Aaron, are you saying I should never ask for work? No. Of course I'm not saying that. But you need to have your priorities straight first, and you need to have the process in order first. Yes, work will come. This would be a really silly class if there was no element of my goal is to help you get work eventually in your career. But it's the starting point and the prioritization of the how you're going about doing it. As Christians, does Christ call us into a life of self-service and serving our own needs? I'm seeing a lot of no's, and that's really encouraging. No, we're not. Philippians 2, 3 through 4 says, "Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility consider others more significant than yourselves. Let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others." And enjoy this green field. There we go. John 13, 16 through 17. "Truly, truly, I say to you, a servant is not greater than his master." This is Jesus speaking. "Nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him." Is he our master? Yes, he is. Is he the one who sends us? Yes, he is. We're no greater than he, and what was his example? Washed his disciples' feet, selflessly served around him. He's saying, listen, this is your calling too. And we lose track of this in our desires to network and to do it well. If Jesus, the Son of God, is serving others, why should we not be doing the same thing? And in our career should be no different. We can serve others in the work that we're seeking. So, with that ever important caveat in place, let us talk a little bit more here about networking. I love this quote, okay? The currency of real networking is not greed, but generosity. Okay, a little bit of the theology behind this, because again, this is a Christian Worldview Film Festival. Filmmaking, at its core, is a collaborative endeavor. It is not something you can do in isolation, okay? AI is changing that a little bit, which we're going to talk about tomorrow morning, but filmmaking is meant to be a collaborative effort. You cannot work alone. So I want to read this passage from 1 Corinthians 12 about the body of Christ, okay? There's some similarities here. "For just as the body is one and has many members, and all the members of the body, though many, are one body, so it is with Christ. For in one Spirit we are all baptized into one body, Jews or Greeks, slaves or free, and all were made to drink of one Spirit. For the body does not consist of one member, but of many. If the foot should say, 'Because I'm not a hand, I do not belong to the body,' that would not make it any less a part of the body. And if the ear should say, 'Because I'm not an eye, I do not belong to the body,' that would not make it any less part of the body. If the whole body were an eye, where would the sense of hearing be? If the whole body were an ear, where would be the sense of smell? But as it is, God arranged the members in the body, each one of them as he chose. If all were a single member, where would the body be? As it is, there are many parts, one body. The eye cannot say to the hand, 'I have no need of you,' nor again the head to the feet, 'I have no need of you.' On the contrary, the parts of the body that seem to be weaker are indispensable." I love that. "And on those parts of the body that we think less honorable, bestow the greater honor. And our unpresentable parts are treated with greater modesty, which our more presentable parts do not require. But God has so composed the body, giving greater honor to the part that lacked it, that there may be no division in the body, but that the members may have the same care for one another. If one member suffers, all suffer together. If one member is honored, all rejoice together." 1 Corinthians 12. Beautiful picture of the body of Christ. Also, in the film world, all of us, ideally, brothers and sisters in Christ, we are the body. Filmmaking, similarly, we need each other, okay? As much as you may hate networking, it's an essential part of this body representation, okay? You know you need others, and you need to make sure that you're aware of that. I love that part about the parts of the body that seem to be weaker are indispensable. And on those parts of the body that we think less honorable, we bestow the greater honor. I think one of the biggest reasons people have a hard time networking, and I'm going to be specific with the type of formula I'm using when I say networking, but at its core, we feel like we are the weaker body part when we're reaching out to someone, for example, Andy Irwin or Adam Drake, Dallas Jenkins, some of these, the Kendricks, these giants in the faith film industry. We get in our heads that we are not worthy of making that connection. Whether you would ever vocalize that, I'm sure most of you wouldn't, but it's in there, and it prevents you from doing some things that you probably should be doing and could be doing right now, okay? It doesn't matter who you are, where you are. If you're part of God's family, your identity, which is what I loved about the conversation, the presentation that we had in there about the importance of identity. Your identity needs to be rooted in your relationship with Christ. That is foundational, okay? If you really have that in place, networking becomes much less intimidating, okay? No one is greater than you in the kingdom of heaven with regard to your standing before the Lord, okay? So get those insecure thoughts out of your head as we look at some really cool ways to go about doing that. Okay, here's the myth of being discovered. Do you get what I did here, guys? What is this? What is this? Bigfoot. It's Bigfoot. He's a myth, right? Okay, visual image in place. The myth of being discovered. We'd love to be discovered, am I right? I'm sure many of you in here have incredible talent that is just waiting to be shown to the world. And we can fall prey to waiting for that wonderful moment when someone just happens to stumble upon us and be like, whoa, you are incredibly talented. Will you be the star of my next movie? Rarely does it happen that way. Rarely does it happen that way. Even with what some people consider overnight successes, talk to those people. They were not overnight successes. It's a lot of time, a lot of work. I heard a funny story. It does happen very rarely. Charlize Theron, she was discovered in her teens at a bank, and she had just moved over from wherever she's from, Australia? Somewhere. She had just moved to the States, and she was having an loud argument with a bank teller in LA, and a film director happened to be in the bank and heard her and thought, she's giving a very good performance, and reached out to her, gave her a role in her next movie. And that launched her career. But that's rare. That's very, very rare. So don't bank on that. Thank you. Thank you for catching that. I didn't even catch that. All right. And dare I say, you don't want that. Okay? It sounds really nice to be discovered and to just be given a huge opportunity. But the reality is, skipping developmental stages can actually be very detrimental to you as a person. You don't want to be an overnight success because the journey is vital. We want things faster and easier. We live in a very microwave society. We want results way faster than we get them. But the reality is, Christ is developing who you are and preparing you for whatever is next for you through these dry periods, through the slow, painfully uneventful portions of your life. So don't ever feel like the time of you not working on your dream or your dream project is a waste. Okay? In the film world, it's called in development. You are in development no matter what you're doing right now. So don't view it as pre-film me or post film me. It is right now you are being developed, and be excited about that, okay? And it never too old, okay? Sometimes people think, oh, I'm getting into the industry way too late. And I'm here to tell you that is no such thing. Because again, your life has not been wasted up until this point. You've been in development. So never be discouraged about that. Beverly Sills says there's no shortcuts to any place worth going. I know it's hard. I know it takes a lot of time, but it's true. It's worth it. I'm working on a project right now that I was hoping to do 13 years ago. I remember when I first had the idea, I was trying to jump on it, and nothing was working. And I remember being very, very discouraged. And then fast forward to 2026, the timing was right. I had more tools in my tool belt to make what I had happen, and it's now in development and working really, really well. I'm much more prepared at 36 than I was at 23 for what I'm about to do. The Lord knew that. I didn't know that at the time. So enjoy the process. Don't rush it. You may be one of the most talented people in the world, but if you're not willing to put yourself out there, that's step number one. Do not be afraid to make yourself vulnerable. You have to be vulnerable to do this. If you never put forth that effort, you will never get where you want to be. I can guarantee you that. I took an actor marketing class a few years ago. I think it was more than a few years ago. Aaron, I think that was 2020. That's more than a few, isn't it, guys? 2020, took an acting class, because what else was I going to be doing in 2020, that wonderful year? And this actress, she had actually moved from China to the US. Well, she moved to St. Louis. She went from China, no film background, China to St. Louis, decided she wanted to be an actress, moved to LA, no connections. New language, new culture, threw herself into it, and learned how to do it. And so she was teaching a class on marketing as an actor. And I remember being on some of these Zoom, because they had live Zoom classes, and she would be doing like a Q&A with actors with a much larger and more impressive IMDb than mine. And I couldn't believe how many actors, when she was encouraging these certain steps to take, were very reticent to do what she was saying. And I remember one in particular just said, oh, I could never do that. I could never reach out to a director and, send him my resume or even do anything. And the actor teaching the class was like, well, I don't know what to tell you, but you're not going to go very far if you're not willing to do that. And so don't be that. Don't be that. Networking, at its core, is a relationship. Okay? We view it often as transactional. I feel like I need to approach this person, they need to hear who I am and what I can do, and then they give me work. Or they think of me next time the job comes around. That's not a healthy way to look at the process of networking, okay? Because again, it's a relationship at its core. So think of the relationships, this is always a helpful exercise. Think of the relationships in your own life, whether it be romantic or friendship or anything, any relationship. Which ones do you like to hear from more often? Those who only contact you when they need something? And when they want something from you? When life's going hard for them, and that's why they just want your support? Or those friends who are selflessly investing in you, just no matter what's going on? You want to hear from that one, right? Anybody want the one that's just calling you when they need you? Okay, that's good. We're in a healthy state here. So if real relationships are that way, why do we sometimes put networking in a different category? It's going to come off the same way. You're going to have people who are like, this person's just always wanting something from me. And they're going to remember that. Next time if an opportunity comes along that's a perfect fit for you, they're going to remember, oh, man, they came on hard. And I only hear from them with, cold emails. So it's playing the long game. Networking is playing the long game. Again, you don't want to hear these words. What do you mean, long game? Shouldn't it just be like this? No. And I can tell you from experience, it's much better in the long game. Dale Carnegie says you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get people interested in you. Love that quote. So, be strategic. This is point number 1 here. I don't have, you know what, I'll pull out my phone just so I'm aware a little bit of the time. Okay, we have a half an hour. Don't reach out randomly. Okay, this is going to apply to, I'm an actor, I'm a film composer. What I love about this whole talk is it applies to any area of film that you're in. So give me a little bit of idea of who are actors in the room. Wow, okay, healthy dose of actors. How about directors and producers? Great. Post-production services, anybody? Okay, great. So again, what I love about this presentation, it applies to all of you. This works, okay? Be strategic. Don't reach out randomly. I learned this the hard way, okay? When I first started, I would shotgun email. And pretty much I would have a template email that I would just swap out 1 or 2 words and names, and then I would go on IMDb and find a production, a movie. I'd look at the producers. I'd find all the producers. I'd email every producer. I'd email the director, and then I'd move to the next movie, or I'd find the producer and then find which ones they were in, and then I'd email those producers and just don't do that, okay? They are very aware that you're not just reaching out to them, okay, when you do it that way. So align with the genre you want to be in, okay? If you love rom-coms, don't reach out to directors that only do thrillers. That doesn't make sense. They're not going to be doing the type of work you want to do with them. So find the people, align with genre, align with the values. I've gotten in bad situations where, get to a project and find out in the middle of it, this is not something I'm willing to do. And so then you part ways, and that's a lot of unfortunate relationship problems and things that can affect future work. So don't do that. Find your people, as they say, find those and get in the trenches with them. And long-term goals. So coming to a place like this, great way to figure out and meet people that are in that lane with you. So ask any marketing professional. They'll tell you the more specific you can be, the better results you'll have with your marketing efforts, okay? So if you find someone that's very in line with what your goals are, there's going to already be a warmer connection there than there would be if it's just a random, I'll reach out to anybody, okay? Preparation matters so much, okay? Don't reach out to people and say, hey, I'd love to work with you, or I'd love to talk with you and meet with you, and things are going well, they're warm to it, they reach out to you and say, yeah, let's talk, I would love to hear more about you. You get on a call, you're talking with them, and things are going well, and then they say, hey, can you send me some of your work? And you have this moment of, wait a second, yeah, I'm sure I can find something, I'll put some stuff together for you. Don't do that. Okay, before you start these outreach efforts, have your ducks in a row. Have a website, have a demo reel that you're very, very proud of, just your best work. Okay, put your best foot forward. They may only give you a glance. And so if you have the best of your work, you can make a very immediate impression. And that is huge. Okay, so don't be caught off guard and have nothing to show for this great connection that you just made, okay? So that's the order. Make sure you've got a good first impression, then start this outreach stuff that I'm about to tell you about. Outreach tools, okay? If you don't have IMDb Pro, it's worth the investment. I think it's about $150 a year, give or take, and totally worth that for your career, okay? IMDb Pro, what you can do, again, is you find a movie, for example, that you really, really loved. You go there, it gives you the director, you click on the director. Sometimes it gives their contact info. Sometimes it's a phone number, sometimes it's an email, sometimes it's just their agent, depending on how they decide to do their profile. But I have found direct emails, really, really good direct emails through IMDb Pro, okay? Which you cannot get through just basic IMDb. Another one that I recently have been using that has been so, so helpful is called ContactOut. Anybody familiar with ContactOut? Okay, so it's basically an like a web browser extension that you can add that when you go on LinkedIn, because again, you're not going to find all the contact info you want on IMDb Pro, but if you go to LinkedIn and you find, which a lot of directors and producers and influencers, people you want to meet, are on LinkedIn, you can go to their profile, and you don't even have to be connected to them. You don't even have to be in their network. And this web browser extension will pop out with their contact info. Just boom. The email attached to the LinkedIn profile, and even sometimes a phone number. I would not advise cold calling, but emails are great. Okay, that's a very, very helpful tool. ContactOut. Okay, so we're prepared. And we've got our best foot forward. We have something to show for it when we make these connections. Now the goal of the outreach. Okay, step one, identify the people you want to learn from. Okay, so after this, when you go home, I want you to come up with a list of the top people you'd want to talk to, speak with, learn from, eventually, someday, work with. Put that list together. And when you're reaching out, okay, so you've used ContactOut, you found one of your dream contacts, you are reaching out to them, here's how you structure the email that has worked the best for me, okay? You're not going out to seek work, not in this first interaction, okay? So you're emailing them, what are you asking for? You are asking for 15 to 20 minutes of their time for a Zoom meeting. Unless you're in somewhere where you can meet them in person, that's ideal. Again, I'm from Iowa. That was not an option for me. So, emailing, asking for 15 to 20 minutes of their time. Tell them why them. Be specific. I loved this film that you did. This film changed my life in this way. I love how you did X, Y, Z. Give them a specific reason that you're contacting them, not just any random Tom, Dick, or Harry, okay? They know, okay, this person specifically is reaching out to me. Give them that specificity. Most people, because this is the sweet spot, if you ask for an hour meeting, most people are not going to have that time or think that. Their immediate reaction is an hour of my time, of my day, to talk to someone that I don't really know? No, probably not. You ask for 15 to 20 minutes, it's a totally different ask. A lot of people are willing to give 15 minutes of their time for someone who clearly has been impacted by their work. A fun little tip that you can do that I think is a fun little addition you can add depending on who it is, but you could say a virtual coffee meetup. I've done this. You can say, if you're willing to do this, I'd love to send you a $5 Starbucks gift card so that we both can be having a coffee on the call. Again, willingness to go a little extra, give them $5. If it's someone you really, really want to meet with, you're treating them to coffee, and you both can sip coffee while you talk about the things you want to talk about. So that's a fun little thing you can add to this. Make it about learning, not about work. I'm telling you, you're going to make a huge impression if you get off the call with someone not having asked for work. Where you really, a lot of people are going to go into these calls thinking, yeah, they want to talk to me, and I know they're going to send, can I send you my work? You want to see what I've done? They sense that. But if you can have a call where you're asking them questions, you're learning from them, you thank them for their time, and then you get off, they're going to go, that went well. That was surprising. That's a quick way to make an impact. So just learn in this initial contact, okay? And be transparent about your intentions. If you do any sort of bait and switch, I want to talk with you, and then they agree to it, you do anything but that, that's going to be your last meeting with them. That is horrible. Set the tone, tell them exactly why you want to talk to them, and then make it happen. And do exactly it the way that you should do it. Okay, another fun tip you can do, it's a lot more work, but I've had great success with this, is create a custom video message. I've done that with a couple people. I did it with Frank Smith, who is the current head of Walden Media, who did the Narnia films back in the day, produced the Narnia films, Charlotte's Web, a bunch of the family-friendly films. I did one for him. He responded the same day. He said, whoa, I have not gotten a custom video message before. Yes, let's chat. I did it with Ralph Winters, who is a producer, has done a ton of Captain America, and he's actually a believer, and is a very influential producer. Fantastic Four, X-Men, same thing. He responded very quickly and said, whoa, okay, yeah, let's talk. So that can make an impact. I don't do it often because it is very time consuming to do it that way, but it's a pretty effective tool if you want to do that. Nope, stay on that. So come prepared with questions, okay? Specific questions. I have had this happen, and it's extremely awkward. I had someone reach out, asked to have a meeting with me, got on the call, and he had nothing to say, nothing guided. So we get on the call, hey, how are you doing? And was kind of waiting for something to flow from there. And he was just kind of I'm like, oh, I'm going to be carrying this conversation. Okay. And I took a mental note oh my word, it's so important that you come. You asked for the meeting. You better be ready to say, these are my questions. Can you answer these, okay? Because it can be very, very awkward. Reaffirm their impact. Tell them why you're reaching out to them. Thank them for their time, that they're willing to do this with you. And respect the time limit. If you say 10 to 15 minutes, cut it off at 15. And they may say, no, let's keep going. I had a meeting with Bill Ross, who is John Williams' go-to orchestrator, okay? Star Wars, all of those films. He was working on The Last Jedi score when I was there in LA, met with him. And I asked for 20 minutes. I got that, met with him, ended up being 45, 50. So it can go long. I said at 20, I don't want to take any more of your time. No. If they say, let's keep this conversation going, great. But you need to initiate. I'm going to, I got to go. Thank you so much for your time. Let them be the one to push against that. Okay, resist asking for work. Okay, I've said this a number of times. I just want to emphasize this. The key to success in networking, okay? Winsomely ask to keep in touch if the meeting goes well, okay? This is something that I do. If I sense that this is a warm contact, okay? Sometimes you get on there and you're like, whoa, he's not giving me very much, and I can tell this is not going anywhere from here. You'll have that. Sometimes, though, you can tell people are really rooting for you and something goes really well. I'll say, hey, can I keep in touch? I have a network of people that I trust and admire that when I have, something that I think I would like advice on or counsel on, I reach out and ask them. And I don't do it often, but when it's something important that I would really want, the Bible says in the multitude of counselors there's wisdom, I would love to just be able to pick your brain every once in a while. And I, assure them I'm not going to do it all the time. Be sincere. Okay, that's just I think that is such a hard thing to do when you're doing these kind of things, but that speaks volumes. People can spot when you're being insincere or, not genuine. And if you can do it in a winsome way, you're not going to come off as a weird, wacko, stalker, creepo, okay? You can do that winsomely, again. Okay, a couple more, and then I want to have time for questions. After this meeting, okay, obviously this is very specific, so I'm assuming all of you aren't always in a place that you can connect with someone in person, okay? If you are, great. Try and get in-person meetings. But I came into this presentation assuming you may not always have that network in that community. So I'm approaching this from how do you reach out from Iowa or somewhere, wherever you guys are. It doesn't limit you anymore. It used to, but now you really can connect with all sorts of people digitally. So you get off the call. What are you going to do? You don't leave it. You follow up. Follow up well. Within 1 to 2 days, I think the sooner the better, reach out with a thank you, an email. Again, don't ask for work. Thank you. And hopefully you had taken notes during your call. Have something specific that stood out to you about what you learned from them. And prove that you were listening. And send that to them. And again, just let that sit. And often you get a warm response from that. Be persistent, okay? What can happen very easily is you reach out to your dream contact, you don't hear from them. They don't respond at all. And it can be a crushing blow. And it feels like, you know what, they probably saw my email, they probably assumed I'm a nobody and didn't want to talk to me, and we go through the worst case scenario, they probably think I'm worthless. That's probably not true. Based on my experience, these people get a lot of correspondence, and they miss things. And one thing you can do to improve your chances is to follow up at least once. Okay, obviously a thank you follow-up with those you do connect with, but those that didn't respond to your initial, for example, follow up with, hey, I know you're busy. I'm sure you've got a lot of people that you're talking to. Again, do it winsomely, humbly, but just wanted to make sure you saw this. If you don't have time, totally get it, but just wanted to follow up once and try. The success rate of hearing from people after that is very, very high for me. And a lot of times they say, thank you for following up. This slipped through the cracks. I would love to talk to you. Okay, so don't give up after the first attempt. Often it won't be the first. Follow up. One little success story that I want to encourage you with. I did this with Candace Cameron Bure, Kirk Cameron's sister. Anybody know who that is? I tried to connect with her about a year ago and used social media as a tool, which I want to touch on briefly, and asked people to help me get in touch with her. And eventually, it happened. She reached out to me on Instagram, said, hey, I understand you want to meet with me and talk. Let's do it. So set up a time to chat. We had this interaction, and it went well. We've been in touch since, but she's very slow in responding. Again, has a lot on her plate. So typically when I would, just recently we had a meeting, I had reached out once and nothing, and waited, gave it, a week or so, follow up again, little gracious, hey, I know you're busy, would love to chat. And the call we had about a month ago, she got on and specifically said, Aaron, I just want to tell you, I so appreciate the way you follow up. She said, every time, I see it come through, I go, oh, I need to respond. But she said, I get so many things in my inbox and in my DMs that I miss it. And then when you follow up, you do it in such a gracious way, and it, reminds me in not a guilt-trippy way. So just want to encourage you, it does work, and people appreciate it if you do it well. And following up demonstrates maturity and leadership. And it, implies that you really do want to get a hold of them. Show them that you're eager to speak with them. Track your efforts, okay? This is huge. Get a spreadsheet. This is what I do, okay? I hope this is helpful to you. Create a spreadsheet, whether it's a Google spreadsheet or the normal kind. What do you call that? What's the Microsoft one? Excel. Thank you. Excel. Can you tell I don't use Excel? I use Google. But create a spreadsheet and divide it, on the bottom, you can divide it into different pages. These are the ones I use. That's the name of it. I call it the Industry Connections Tracker, okay? And what I put under there is connections. So those are people that I have connected with. I list their name, their email, if you have a phone number, and then if you need it, some of the stuff they've worked on. Sometimes I just need a little memory jogger to be like, okay, I don't recognize this producer right off the top of my head. What have they worked on? And then that'll help you remember. So and I just list all of them. Anytime I connect with someone, I mark it down so that I remember I can follow up with these people. They know who I am. And it's a warm contact, okay? Then I have a Future Friends tab. Okay, these are people you want to eventually connect with. They come to your mind, you watch a movie, boom, add them to your future friends list, and you can just work through that list gradually of these are the people I want to know someday, and start cultivating those contacts. And then lastly, set connections. This is one that I've started doing that I love, where I meet people on set that I really, not everybody, especially on larger sets, you're not going to get to everybody, but people that you've had great contacts with and great relationships, whether it's the makeup person, the sound, the gaffer, the sound guy, there's just the people that really made an impact and you made an impact on them. Before you leave set, ask for their name, ask for their email. Again, if it's a genuine connection, they're going to gladly give you that. And their mailing address. And what I've been doing is typically 15 to 20 that I connect with on a set, get that information, and I send them a handwritten note. Handwritten thank you. And I have had people take a photo of it, send it to me, and say, oh my word, no one does this anymore. Thank you. I love this. Great to meet you, blah, 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 blah. Again, you're taking it a step beyond most are willing to do. This is the long game. It takes, you get hand cramps, right, and thank you notes, okay? It takes time. It takes an effort to, remember something about the person. That speaks volumes. So when you're on set, make those connections. When you have the gift of being on a film set, take full advantage. Do not be a diva. Do not be someone that's hard to work with. That's a quick way to just get one job and you're done. I have been on those sets where I'm like, whoa. If I were to make a movie, I would never want to hire this person because they're making it all about them. They're making things very, very difficult. That's a quick way to get yourself out of the industry. Again, genuine, sincere, be great to be with. Last thing on that, track people on IMDb. Here's another great tip. Keep those contacts warm. Don't make a connection, send a thank you, and then forget about them. Add them to your spreadsheet, and then here's a beautiful thing that IMDbPro does that has helped me immensely. Go on to IMDbPro, find that person, and what you can do with IMDbPro is track them. Again, not in a creepy way. It makes it very normal. It offers that option. You click track, and then when you open up your IMDb, you'll get a notification anytime that contact is attached to a new project, which is so cool because that gives you an excuse, because a lot of times you're like, how do I reach out again? This is kind of weird. I'm just going to reach out for no reason. This allows you to have a reason to reach out again. So, wow. Shirley, I don't know why I chose Shirley. I don't think I'm connected to a Shirley. But Shirley, heard you were on, just saw on IMDb that you're attached to this new project, XYZ, whatever it is. That's awesome. How have things been going? Boom, reconnection right there. They feel thought of, because you did. You thought of them with this new project they're on. They can tell that you're interested in their work and that you want to hear from them again. So cool, so helpful, and allows you to keep some of these contacts warm. Okay, multiply your network. Gosh, we're running out of time. Multiply your network. This one is so valuable too. You have a great meeting. Okay, again, you want the thank you follow-up. Okay, we already established that. But give it a week or two if you've had a great meeting with someone on Zoom or in person, either one. And a few weeks later, reach out and say, hey, really appreciated our conversation a couple weeks ago. Are there, 1 to 2 people that you think I would benefit connecting with in your network of people? We had a great conversation. I'd love to learn. I'm eager to learn more. So do you have anyone in mind that I could connect with? And if they liked you and the meeting went well, they're going to give you 1 to 2 people that they would recommend you reach out to. This happened to me with Ken Carpenter. Have you heard of him? He's a producer. Okay, he's done a number of films. Well, I was referred to him by Chris Dowling. So I talked to Chris Dowling, who's a film director, and I did this tactic. I said, hey, I'd love to talk to someone else. He said, you need to talk to Ken Carpenter. Had a meeting with Ken Carpenter. 2 months later, Ken Carpenter called me, said, I'm working on a movie, and I have a role in mind for you. Do you want to audition? I auditioned, got the role, worked for him. That's how the process can work. It doesn't always work that way, but I went from Chris to talking to someone, and what do I type in my email subject line? Ken Carpenter suggested, or Chris Dowling suggested I reach out. That's all I say. That's enough to get me to open an email. If someone were to say that I know and trust, hey, so-and-so told me to reach out. That's all it takes. I'll open that email because I had that link of trust with that person. And so that can lead from one thing to the next. It's incredibly helpful. Last but not least, social media, incredible tool. Okay, I know it can be weird and self-serving and obnoxious and just like a cesspit, but it can be super, super helpful if you use it well as a tool, okay? Quick story, Justin Paul. Anybody know who he is? He wrote the music for La La Land and The Greatest Showman, and I spoke with him last year. Why? Because his grandma follows me on social media. Is because I've seen her name for years and years and years. Wanda has been commenting on my stuff for years. And then finally she commented on a post shortly after the Oscars and said, my grandson won an Oscar. And I was like, I'm sorry, Wanda, who is your grandson? She said, Justin Paul. And he won, I think it was for The Greatest Showman, or the La La Land. And so then I said, hey, Wanda, any chance I could speak to your grandson? And she arranged it. She did what grandmas can do and got me a meeting with Justin Paul, and it went very, very well. So those kind of things can happen when you nurture and engage a genuine audience. Obviously, do it in a Christ-honoring way. I try to use my platform. I make people laugh. Yes, I think that's what a lot of people know me for. But I want to edify people who are watching, and you can do that. There's so much junk on the internet, and you can be a light on there in the way that, and it is, yes, of course it's a marketing tool, but you can also be a light in a very dark place. So don't shy away from that. If you have questions about that, let me know. And then final charge, in an industry driven by ego, the most radical thing you can do is serve. Give of yourself. Cheer others on. Do not be a siphon, okay? Don't be someone that's constantly draining people and making them uncomfortable with propositions to work. Serve them. Say, hey, can I promote your movie? I've done that before. Would love to, to do that on your behalf. Ask how you can serve them. At the end of it, on these calls, it's a great opportunity to say, hey, anything I can do for you. They didn't ask for work, and they asked how they can serve me. Whoa. You want to make an impact. That's how you do it. And suddenly, your network becomes your community if you do that, if you do it well. Okay? That's it. That's all I have for you. We have time for like one question. Sorry, I meant to wrap. But I'll be available after. Okay, right here. I'll be available after this if you have more questions. But
specifically for the video that you would send to someone personally, is that over email or is it okay?
Yeah.
So you would like make a YouTube link being like, hey, this is me with the questions. I'd love to meet up.
yes,
Okay, fire.
that's exactly it. Yeah, film yourself, upload it to YouTube, do unlisted link. So
Yes.
it's not just anybody stumbling on your, that might be weird. Just unlisted, put it right embed it into the email. Say, hey, let the video do most of the talking, but say, hey, I made a video for you. Make sure you give a little bit of an idea of who you are before the video so that they're not like, 'cause
Don't open
you get
links.
spam. Like, yeah, here's a video I made. You got to be very,
Oh, good heavens.
yeah, make sure they know who you are a little bit before the video, but yes, that's how I would do it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Trinity, I guess we can wrap it up, but I'll linger here if you have questions. I don't
All
want
right,
to hold
thank
you
you
up.
guys so much for coming to this wonderful seminar. Don't forget that Stephen Kendrick is doing the main session tonight from 4 to 5. Also, don't forget to check out all of the vendors out there. They've all worked really hard this week, so please go check them out. I know they would appreciate it. I think that's everything. I think I covered everything. Oh yeah, don't forget that to take everything with you. But if you do happen to forget something, check the lost and found out in the registration desk. Yeah, that's where it's at. Yeah, it's been a long day, but that's where it is. The registration desk. All right, I think that's everything. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, everybody.